let's check out our first week in All Will Rise. So we start playing as this lovely character here, and these are her two workmates who don't seem super enthusiastic about what they're doing in this conversation, but our girl is talking them into it. We're trying to protect the river, make it a legal person so people can't pollute it without being criminally charged for, like, I guess assault or something. The plan is to bring life back to the river, restore it, help nature prevail, and then it gave me this choice, and I had a little look at all of them and decided to go with the right to flow. Look at me trying to... I'm so indecisive. I was actually taking my time and considering all things. And then we went to court with this case to try and make the river a person. So we come in, we're a little nervous, giving ourselves a little pep talk. And then in comes, I guess, the judge. Yeah, she's the judge. She looks kind of low-key evil, which, you know, I think says something. But she is moaning about the river being in danger, the waste, all of this. Then it's our turn to say, like, we need to protect the river. We've got to. Yes, there's waste and pesticide pollution, and we are trying to protect it. And then this is where we kind of try to make our point that we should make it a legal person. She rebukes that, saying that we should just fine the polluters. That's what we're already doing. And that, you know, this will continue to work. We'll just really enforce our laws. We say that the river's got a right to flow. And yeah, you know, just saying that it should be able to flow. But she's like, no, we're gonna enforce the laws. And I said, prove it. And then she got pissy at me, and she gets to use a powerful move. But I think that's what we wanted. We wanted to stir her up, and now we're going to be like, let us make it a legal person to protect it. We need to do something different. We need to make a change. Clearly, the fining people is not working. So I said, we need a new daring approach. And she kind of, you know, took that and said, okay, fine, you can make the river a legal person. So then the card changes from make the river a legal person to the river is a legal person. We won the case. Happy cheers all round. Except that night, something terrible happens. There is a fire, and we're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Could it be the fireworks going wrong? And then it turns out somebody has literally set the river on fire. The art, by the way, for this is absolutely stunning. Like, can we just take a second and appreciate how gorgeous this is? Even though it's super sad. Anyways, we see some dead spectres, like ghosts, hopping out of the water, and clearly nobody else can see them. But I guess we're in tune with it. So anyway, we have a meeting with our crew, our little gang of social justice people who want to make positive changes in the world, and they're like, bro, where were you? Why are you so late? Were you out partying? And basically we come to the conclusion that we could maybe try and attack the people who did this for murder, but we need to kind of gather evidence, I guess. So we sent our friends out on some missions. It was time. They gave us a load of information, a load of different options for where we could send our friends and ourselves, and we had to kind of assign them little jobs, and then we go on a little mission too. So I did that. I couldn't quite figure it out straight away, but once I got there, once I figured out we were all good to go. We sent them on their way, we said be careful, and then we came down and we tried to help the wildlife. We saw some wildlife floating around and tried to help it. There's obviously a lot of people doing a cleanup operation, and lots of people scared and shocked and everything like that. So we focus on the wildlife, but basically we get shouted at and told that there is like a less than 1% chance of saving wildlife in an oil spill situation, which is devastating to hear. I don't know how accurate these figures are, but I can imagine that it is pretty low. So we get a card for our debates about biodiversity loss. Luckily, our friends had a bit more of a successful time. Joy diverted some construction workers to help with the oil spill, and Shintu helped with some migrant workers and the situation over there and collected information. The next day, we sent them on another mission. We went back to the crowds. There was some person making like statements and shouting that they're a god and such. This is them. Very interesting looking character. Love the makeup. Love the fit, But they were not very happy with us. Evidently, they'd heard of our court case and were not impressed. They said the river god is angry. They said that the village is cursed with sickness and drought. And they made some pretty scary points, saying the port expansion is a problem and we're destroying the planet with it. We said that there's a fire in our soul, I think. Not really clear what that card did, what the card was supposed to be saying. But we are loving the spectacle of this whole thing, and I think the crowds are too. They are making lots of points about, yes, the oil spills, but, do we have proof? Because how are we supposed to do anything when they've got money and power on their side, so they can afford expensive lawyers to basically say, nah, not our fault, like the oil companies, I assume. Anyway, we go on back and forth a little bit about this. We talk about the biodiversity loss, and they're saying that capitalism eats the world. Again, valid points. Lots of valid points. But not a productive conversation. It just feels like they're arguing back and forth with us. We said that the river is dead. They did not like that. They went into a crisis mode. And it looks like we'll be seeing a not very nice version of themselves. We then immediately went into crisis afterwards because they said about the fossil fuels destroying the future. Again, super valid points. We then tried to make a point that the river's a legal person. I was going to say I speak for the river, but it seemed like this person would not like that. There's a little tip up there saying basically this person's not going to react well to that. So we're saying we need to protect the river, and they're just your methods are not working. You're trying to protect the river. You've been trying to protect the river, but the river is not protected. So do something else. Sometimes we need some violence. And it kind of seems like at this point we hit a brick wall. So I went with asking them who they are. They then revealed the secret to me that they were from like an impoverished family, how capitalism has absolutely ruined their lives. Two of their family members passed away because of basically crappy work conditions, and made me want to really fight the man. The man in this case may be the judge that we had that conversation with earlier, but I don't know. I will figure that out in the next week of this game. But our friends again had successful times. They were able to find out that the dredging is not happening enough to keep things safe, and that the oil sample had pesticides in it. So these cards I think will help us in future debates. Then we got to have the weekend, and I thought it would be a good time for our little characters to relax and recharge. I gave them a little mission to do each, which I thought would be like relaxing. So going into nature and going to do these more peaceful things, like visiting a shrine. And I sent him to a live show, and then we went and got ready for some race that's going to happen, a boat race. And at that race, not at the race, but at the preparation for the race, we decided to paint our snake boat with fish eyes on the prow. I'm not sure what a prow is, but I'm assuming it's the front of it. Anyways, that is how we spent our little weekend, which was recharging and leveling up for our characters, which means that they will be more ready and able to have these tricky debates in future weeks to come. And that is basically the end of my first week in All War Rise. If you'd like to see more of this game, make sure you leave a like, and let me know if you're enjoying this more summarizing content, or if you prefer like long play where I do like live commentary over the game. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!
Do you ever think that you're lost in the